And very good morning to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. What a surprise. This morning we have legendary Nat Cole's daughter. Yeah, Natalie on the air with us. Hi, Natalie.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Fine. So nice to have you with us. What a surprise. How's everything going?
Good.
So,
good.
You ready for tonight's wonderful concert that you guys are going to have with Baton Rouge Symphony?
Yes, it should be really great.
How was your trip down?
Oh, it was good. It was good. We came from Charlotte. We
Oh, okay.
With the Charlotte Symphony night before last.
Oh, wonderful. And Dick LaPalme told me that you were in Dubai about a week ago. How was that?
I was in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, Abu Dhabi. Okay.
Yeah.
How was it?
It was fantastic.
And it's a long flight, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's a long
But
flight.
you're used to it.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk to you about your recent projects and how are the twins, your sisters?
My sisters are great, thank you.
Wonderful. And I talked to Dick extensively about your family. And when I was very young overseas, my parents, they played Nat King Cole's music often at home. Mm-hmm. And I called my brother who's working for UN in Switzerland, and he's about 12 years older than me. And I told him that you're going to be on the show. And he said, wow, finally the connection. So this is great, reminiscing the good old days with my mom and dad. So it's a tradition in the Tammami's family to have Nat King Cole's music all the time.
Oh, that's nice. That's really nice.
Well, last week we featured you on several different projects that you have done, and I love this kind of a recent CD that you did with a sort of a montage with your dad, walking with my baby back home. Mm-hmm. Tell us about how did you come up with that project?
Well, we decided that if we were going to try to do another type of duet, we wanted to keep it a little more upbeat.
Right.
And that's the song that we chose, actually. That was the reason. And it just seemed kind of fun, campy, instead of because Unforgettable was very emotional for a lot of people.
Sure.
So I didn't want to necessarily go down that road. I wanted to kind of do something a little more fun, more sweet.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll tell you, we get a lot of calls for that, and also your coffee time. Since I do the morning show, everybody say, hey, how about coffee time with Natalie?
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah.
That's a gorgeous number. I want to talk to you about your sister, Carol, who passed a few years back, and she was an actress, and you guys were very close, isn't that right?
Yeah, very close. She was in the original... the movie that Denzel Washington had just done.
Oh, okay.
About the folks on the subway.
Right.
Oh gosh, now I can't remember the name of it. But she was in the play.
Okay.
And then they turned it into a movie.
That
was one of her bigger roles, and I remember she got a lot of great critiques for that role. She was a wonderful, wonderful actress.
Well, we heard a lot of great things about her, and then also your mom. I didn't know that she was a singer, and she was with Duke Ellington Band. Tell us about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I don't know because I wasn't here. So. But my mom did sing with Duke Ellington. She was a part of 3 ladies that sang with him, and that's how she met my dad.
Okay.
He was a friend of Duke's, and he came to see a show one night. And if I'm not mistaken, Dick was part of that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Dick said that he introduced my mom and dad to each other.
My goodness. There's something about Dick LaPalme, I tell you. He's been taking care of us as far as all the music and all that for the 30-some-odd years, and he's almost like an uncle to me.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
He's very sweet. What a true gentleman he is. And,
he's the best.
It was interesting about, I think a couple of years ago, the American Masters on public television featured your dad. And I was sitting with my wife, we're watching, and they talked to different friends, and they featured Dick LaPalme. And it was so sweet to see him, part of that documentary.
That's nice.
I want to ask you about the two books that you wrote, Angel on My Shoulder and Love Brought Me Back. Tell us about those two wonderful books that you wrote.
Well, the first one was, I guess, basically the first several years of my adult life, and including some of my, childhood memories and things like that.
Right.
The second book was when I started having all these health issues, and then my sister passed away as well.
Right.
It just, it just really threw me for such a loop. I kind of felt like I had to put it down, write it down, and I learned so much during those 3 years that I was sick.
Right.
And so I decided to, and I also learned that, without people who are supportive of you and people who love you, it's hard to get through the day.
Absolutely.
It really, really is.
Absolutely.
All the money in the world does not make it.
You're
because
absolutely
your health,
right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your health is just like numero uno,
Exactly.
And that's why I wanted to call the book Love Brought Me Back, because it was really through the love of so many dear, dear friends of mine that nurtured me, that sat with me, that, talked to me and prayed for me.
Right.
So I think the second book was really the one that means a lot to me.
Absolutely, and it's what a great news that you're in good health, and knock on wood. And as my father said, he said, when you're healthy, you're the richest person on earth.
I'll tell you, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do you guys prepare for the show like tonight? You have a standard charts of your work, and you pass it on, and they make the arrangement ahead of time, and then you guys get together. Is that how it works?
Well, we have for someone like the symphony that we're working with tonight, or even the Charlotte Symphony, we know that ahead of time that they're pretty savvy with these arrangements. My arrangements are, I must say, quite incredible. They're just beautiful. And my musical director, Gail Diedrich, she just, passes out the music. 2.5 hours rehearsal time. And it's interesting to watch the symphony. They get very enthusiastic, about certain songs. But by the time the show comes, they are like so psyched for it. And they play just beautifully. I've never worked with a symphony before tonight, so it would be interesting to see what they're capable of, because Gail will pull out the hardest stuff first.
Oh, absolutely. And there's nothing like having a symphony behind you.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
It just
really, really nice.
inspire you even more.
Yeah.
Back in early 90s, when you did the first project, having your dad on the recordings, how did you guys come up with that?
Well, it was really, the idea was to do a tribute record.
Right.
To my father. And in the process of talking about that, Bob Krasnow, who was the then acting president of Elektra Records, he, said it would be really great if you could come up with an idea for a duet. And I said, okay. And we had done Unforgettable before, very crudely, back in the 80s.
Right.
With a, reel-to-reel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was really crude. It was like Dad's voice, and then you push the button to take his voice out, and I'd sing live, and then you put the voice. It was really, but it worked. It worked. And,
well, it was seamless.
15 years later, we had a great engineer named Al Schmidt, who we talked to about possibly pulling Dad's voice off of the original track of Unforgettable, putting it on a new track, and, seeing if we could make it work again. But a lot better technology than we had many, many years ago.
Absolutely.
And that's what he did. I mean, this guy is the, pioneer. Unforgettable was really the pioneer, certainly the pioneer pop tune of a duet of this nature. Nobody ever done anything like it, and it sounded so real. I mean, people were so impacted by the song. We had reports of folks who, had to pull their car over. They got emotional. They started crying, and for some critics, they even thought it was a little morbid. Because they just couldn't understand how she could use her father's voice like that, and he's been dead for 40 years, and it was really interesting. So it started off as not necessarily the big hit,
Right.
It was a little interesting. People needed to get used to it. And then all of a sudden, it was like that was the only song anybody wanted to hear.
Absolutely.
It turned itself around. So it was really interesting.
Yeah, we still get a lot of requests for that as well. It's a beauty. By the way, that album that your dad did with all the Latin sort of ballads and music, that's now is coming back, and I'm playing it on my show, and we get a lot of calls.
Good.
What a beauty.
I'm considering doing a Latin record. We've been talking about it now for about a year, and I have just actually recorded a Spanish song with a popular lady named Omara Portuondo from Havana.
Right.
And we just worked together probably about 3 weeks ago, before I left for the Middle East.
Oh, okay.
And that was my first Spanish song.
Right.
Totally recorded in Spanish.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's really cool, and we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, we have talked about doing a Latin record, which I think would be great because I think it's time to go a little more international. Oh,
absolutely, especially now with such a increasing population of Latinos in this country, and
exactly.
You hear often, that this is absolutely wonderful. Where are you guys going after Baton Rouge?
We're going to go home for a minute.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm doing a show, guest spot with Whitney Marsalis, the end of this month.
Ooh, with the Lincoln Center?
It's going to be in Chicago.
Oh, in Chicago. Great. Great. Oh, that's going to be a great show.
Yeah. Whitney and I worked together in Moscow as well last year, so we're old friends. It's really nice.
Oh, he's a great guy. One of his ex-colleague who's now in Baton Rouge, Warm Daddy Wes Anderson, saxophone player. He is now in Baton Rouge, and I do quite a bit of projects with him, and he is absolutely great. All the members of the band. Walter Blanding was down here a couple of days ago, part of the Lincoln Center Jazz Orchestra as well. And then, as you know, we have Second University in Baton Rouge, Southern University, and that's where legendary Professor Alvin Baptiste taught. And so all the, Marcellus, they were all close to Mr. Batt, and Mr. Batt was my sort of a mentor growing up.
Oh, that's cool. That's wonderful.
And I can tell you, Natalie, your interview with you goes way up there with the interview that I've done with Max Roach and Dr. Billy Taylor. And, it's we're so excited to have you on the air with us.
Oh, aren't you sweet? Thank you.
Absolutely. We wish you the best. We want to thank Mr. Dick LaPalme for arranging this. You guys been absolutely great, and I'm gonna. After we finish talking, we're going to feature you and your dad off the album Still Unforgettable.
Okay.
And best wishes tonight. I know it's going to be this concert was sold out, I think, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's gone.
And
it's really gone.
And you're going to enjoy, and the theater is beautiful setting, the Centroplex Theater or the Performing Arts. And symphony is great, so, hey, it's always a pleasure to have you with us, and God willing, we'll do that again.
Wonderful.
You have a wonderful day, as we say in Southeast Louisiana, bon chance. Good luck.
Okay, thanks.
All right, take care.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.